Well, 2023 is over and we're now already into 2024. Things happen that fast. So today's video is kind of an update, forecast, looking forward as to where we're going as Hickory Croft Farm, what we have planned, and just kind of talking about the future as we go into 2024. So the first big change or first big thing going forward is, and I'm sure a lot of you have noticed, we've made some changes with our channel. And essentially what we've done is we've started new channels. We now have 3 sort of Hickory Croft Farm channels, and we're going to talk a little bit about each one of those because each one of those has a little different focus, and each one of those also kind of plays into our future, I guess, here on the homestead. So the first channel we started, or the first new channel we started, is called Life Raising Sheep, and it's exactly what it sounds like. What we've decided to do is take all of our sheep related content about our life raising our Icelandic sheep and move it into its own channel, because we basically found that although some people like following along for the entire story, a lot of people like the sheep side of things. And the other thing about the sheep is it's not something that fits well into every homestead situation because it does take space. And so we just figure it makes sense to move these guys onto their own channel. We'll link that up above, the Life Raising Sheep channel. If you like that content, definitely encourage you to subscribe and follow along with that. Just keep in mind that as we go through these channels, this is all still our life. It's just split between these specific topics. So on the sheep side of things, the sheep are still going to be a major focus for us here on the homestead because they bring so much to the table, and we have a lot of work left to do to get things set up to the point where it's running a lot more smoothly. So we're still going to be doing things like building fences, doing some minor barn renovations, getting set up for lambing and milking and all of that wonderful stuff that comes along with raising sheep. And also going to be continuing to go with some of the fiber stuff, the spinning, the shearing, all the stuff that goes into that. Really, in a way, the sheep have become kind of like the cornerstone or the pillar part of our homestead. They're the biggest animals we have. They take the most amount of space and sort of resources from a certain perspective, and they also have a really big return on that for us. And we like sharing the sort of daily ins and outs of that with you.
I am so excited to be starting up the Pantry Living channel to share our kitchen experiences with you. Everything from canning and preserving and cooking, pantry tours, pantry challenges. We're about to start a pantry challenge right now in January, Three Rivers Challenge. Other things like grocery hauls. I've always wanted to do grocery hauls, but we've never done that with Hickory Croft Farm. So branching out into these different channels really gives us the opportunity to expand what we share with you, the viewer. And I think that's fantastic. So if there's anything that you want to see from any of these channels, be sure to let us know, because we always like taking on new challenges. So remember, if you followed us previously for any of those type of things like cooking and pantry, be sure to subscribe to Pantry Living, and you won't miss out on anything if you're there.
So where does all of these changes leave our original Hickory Croft Farm channel, the one you're watching this video on? Well, I think this is going to follow the story of, I'm going to call it the things that a smaller doer or somebody growing food in a smaller space could likely do, because when we actually go through a lot of the things such as our gardens, chickens, rabbits, etc., even though, as I just said earlier in this video, the sheep take a lot of space and a lot of resources, these other things are very concentrated in the zone around our house on a relatively small area. And these things all complement each other. Gardening is a huge component of our lifestyle, of this homesteading lifestyle that we live. And I'm going to put that as a catch-all of everything from annual vegetables to perennial food forests, all of that sort of stuff, plant-based food production. That's a big component of what we do, and that's going to be a big component going forward. We have a lot of plans, and we're actually going to have a video coming out soon which sort of talks about some things that, I'm not going to say lessons learned, but things that we are going to keep doing versus things that we are not going to keep doing, so that we can achieve our goal of producing as much food as possible, but also keep it manageable. On the gardening side of things, that's going to be a big component going forward. We don't have a lot of plans of expansion right now. We're going to work within what we've got and get this up and running well, or that is the goal in 2024. If you kind of look around me, you can see on the goals we set at the end of 2023 how poorly we're actually doing at getting some of those achieved. So I think the gardening revamp and revitalization is going to be a huge component of 2024. Another big focus for us that we're going to share on this channel is we're going to continue talking about rabbits. The rabbits have become a pretty big part of our homestead for a lot of very practical reasons. And while we go back in time and we did a lot of contemplating whether or not to keep going with it, keep moving forward with it, or try something different, time and time again we've come back to deciding that nope, this makes a lot of sense for us to basically raise rabbits as a substantial part of our food that we produce here. So we've got lots of plans, we've got lots of things on the go, and so definitely stay tuned for more rabbit content because rabbits aren't going anywhere. And of course, chickens, or poultry I should say. We went through quite a few changes in 2023 for a variety of reasons that we've already covered. And we're well into, as they walk away from me, we're well into sort of our new silky adventures. And we're definitely going to continue to share that with you as to how it works, how it goes, and, you know, some comparisons to larger birds, all that sort of thing, because they're going to continue to be a pretty big part of our homestead. Even though going in order, they're probably the lowest priority from a livestock perspective for us, just because the way things work here. But they're still a priority nonetheless, and we're still going to continue to share that with you. So all that being said, I think one of the biggest things we sort of forecast going forward into 2024 is this is going to be a year of what I'm going to call a slowdown or focus. We're not really trying a whole lot of new anything. We're just going to try to get the things that we have going well, because we know from experience now that all of these things bring a lot to the table, and we need to get it set up after being here for 4 years. We need to get some things just sorted out so that beyond 2024, things can run a little more smoothly. So I think that's what you're going to see a lot of this year is sort of the status quo, sort of just the trials and tribulations of getting everything just organized. But we're still looking forward to sharing our homesteading lifestyle with you, albeit it's going to be split between 3 different channels, but that also allows you some option as viewers and people who like to follow us. If you're not super interested in one of the parts that we've talked about, you don't necessarily have to follow along. But if you want to get the whole picture, it's going to be outlaid there between the different channels. So hopefully everybody's looking forward to 2024. I think there's lots of promise, although at this point we might be getting into some of our bigger projects sooner than later if we really never get winter.